Hi, this is a reflection on lesson 312 in A Course in Miracles that says, I see all things as I would have them be. I see all things as I would have them be. The one thing that stood out to me in this lesson is it said, perception follows judgment. And that again goes back to I see things as how I feel on the inside. So as I'm judging things, perceiving things, comparing things, whatever that is, that's how I'm going to see the world. So I have a funny example that happened actually today versus yesterday when I was thinking about the lesson. So I thought, well, let's just talk about this. First of all, I'm down here sewing, and I've got all my lining of a jacket I'm making all laid out, and I have to pin it and cut it out. And I'm watching this as I do. So I'm in full on my happy place, except for what happened earlier today that made me think about how my mind is judging and therefore coloring my perception of things. And so today I thought, you know what, I'll do something nice, and I'm going to stay home all day and do crafty things. I will go out early this morning and buy roast and carrots, potatoes, all the things to make a roast in the crock pot, like onions, garlic, whatever I'm seasoning it with. But really, I was like, holy crap, meat is expensive. People have been saying that, but I don't really buy meat. I mean, I'll eat it if it's made for me or if I'm out, but I don't really cook it or buy it. So when I was like, oh my God, I literally spent $50 on this roast with a couple extra things. So I spent $50. I think it was like $70 on this meal, but hear me out. Because I have such a big, busy week this week, and in my mind, I'm like, I need the protein, and I've actually been craving protein a lot. So I'm like, perfect. It's worth it, because when you break it down, the cost per day, and I'm going to eat the crap out of this, like leftovers for days, like all week long. It's really not that expensive when you break it down like that. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I put a lot of thought into making sure I cook it correctly, not too high. That's why I wanted to go early, so I could have a whole day of slow cooking it, so the meat turns out as good as it can be. Because when you cook it on high, it's like not as tender, supposedly. So anyway, a lot of thought never went into this. So I get it all prepped, like by 9 a.m. It's on low, cooking away, and then like several like hours later, I'm upstairs, and I thought, oh, I better check on just to see how it's going. The crock pot was off. It was cold. The meat had not, like, it looked like I had just put everything in the crock pot. This is hours later, and I was like, what? I thought we were almost halfway through, right? So, and sure enough, I look, and I'm like, the toaster was plugged in instead of the crock pot. And I know I had turned it on earlier. It was plugged in earlier because I plugged it in and started the heat rising while I was prepping, like making sure the broth was in. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to jump start this cook time by getting all of that, everything heated up before I'm even putting stuff in. So I know it was plugged in. And as I put the lid on to walk away, it was plugged in. Guess who made, so then earlier in the morning, though, between me prepping the meal and coming downstairs to start sewing, I noticed my husband was eating toast and for his breakfast. So guess who had unplugged the crock pot and plugged in the toaster almost immediately after I started cooking it. So no wonder it was just cold. Not even cooked yet. He had made toast immediately after. See, so he had unplugged my crock pot and plugged in the toaster and didn't re-plug in the crock pot because, in his defense, he's always unplugging what's normally plugged into that outlet, which is also a black cord. It looks so different though, but we won't go there. We won't go there. Oh, so here we are, hours behind cooking schedule. So I had to restart it on high heat. So that means it just may not be as good as It could be this $50 to $70 meal, $50 in meat. So I had to cool off for a minute because this was where I'm going with this lesson. It was like my internal was coloring. Like there was story making going on. There was like, like this was just one more thing in a series of things, and like the story making and the inner child that just I won't even go into that because there was just so much that came up. I should be thanking him for helping me do some shadow work today, which I did. If you want to call it shadow work, it's just like that. Examining, like, where are these feelings coming from? What is the story churning mechanism happening here that's churning up all these old emotions and like storytelling? It was just like crazy. Just because of that one little oopsie. We won't even go into like, if you unplugged a thing to use your thing, why wouldn't you plug back in the other thing? We won't go there. We won't even go there. But I did, didn't I? So it really was perfect timing with this lesson because like my internal, the part of me inside that's unhealed, that still I've been coming back to examine this thing that's ancient within me. It reared its ugly head again by this thing happening that honestly, once I just sort of like looked at it, it's like recognized what was happening, I let it go. So, but it did something there for a minute. All because it was just a little oops, a little glitch. And it could have been just like, oh, that's okay. I'll just plug it back in. I'm fine. But no, it was something. So it reminds me with this lesson, it's like perception follows judgment. My mind was making all kinds of judgments and coloring how I was seeing the situation, which made it way more complex and fraught with negativity and wrongdoing and hurt. It wasn't there, it wasn't real, but it brought it up because it was a part of me that I've been working on, that there's still remnants of this inner child that just needed something in a moment that it didn't get, which is what inner child work really is all about. It needed something in that ancient history moment of childhood that it didn't get. And by examining it, I can give myself that. I can bring in that feeling of whatever you want to call it, to say, and give that gift, give that presence to myself, whatever I didn't get back then. So that one is just one more thing, meaning when I said that earlier, it was just yet one more time in my life where that inner child did not get what it needed. So anyway, that's where it led me. I was just going to have a happy day of cooking and sewing. And I'm like, shit, now I got to do some shadow work, some inner child healing work. All right. Thank you, husband, for that opportunity. Oh, I love life, don't you? So anyway, thanks for listening to me on that. There's still more work to do. There's always more work. And it just seems to like come up quickly and resolve quickly. Come up quickly and resolve quickly. Instead of like roiling around. Is that a word? Like when you're just like for a long time, which used to happen. And now at least like it comes up quickly. And now I know to look right at it. Give it love. And then it comes back to like a neutral place of, and really a place of, neutrality is really what it comes back to, as if there's no problem here. There really isn't. There is no problem. The meat is going to be what it is. it's probably going to turn out amazing. The house is still going to smell amazing, like it does when you use the slow cooker. And there's no problem. In fact, if nothing else, it gave me a funny story to tell my mom. Because I just texted her, I'm like, you're going to love this. Because she's a slow cooker fanatic. And I know I probably am triggering her by just telling her my story and laughing about it, because I know it would trigger her if that happened. So part of me is like, let me trigger my mom a little bit. She could use it. That's so evil. Oh, but I love her, and she'll laugh, really. But if she were in my shoes, oh, things would not be good. So anyway, thanks for listening, and yeah, enjoy your day. Bye.